So today I want to talk about productivity for high performers. Maybe this is you. You want to achieve everything. You want to get everything done. But sometimes you just feel overwhelmed. Everything's kind of running at you and you just don't have the energy anymore to handle everything. And you just feel that like everything is crushing you and you don't know how you can get things done. And you're wondering how to get more productive, and that's why you're watching this video. So let's get to it. Because see, I'm an entrepreneur, but also at the core, I'm an athlete. And so I've learned a lot, and I am learning because I'm still an athlete, how to get the most out of myself throughout the year without ever having a moment where I'm down. And so the idea that athletes have understood and that they are able to use over time and that actually produce outstanding results is the idea of what is called periodization. Because even though you may not want to hear that, athletes understand that if you push your body, your mind, too high for too long, generally speaking, you will crash. And this is what happens. If you feel overwhelmed, it's just because you have pushed yourself too much for too long. But I'm not saying that you shouldn't push less. I'm saying that you should do it in a smart way. Because athletes want to perform to the highest level, so they cannot afford to just go easy on training. But there is a smart way to do it and a dumb way to do it. So let's talk about this smart way, which is called periodization. The idea of periodization is simply that you plan in advance, or at least you try to plan in advance as much as you possibly can. Generally, athlete, and this is what I do, I have an annual plan where I kind of lay out, okay, the things that are coming through this year, and I deconstruct that into multiple shorter cycles. And if you want, I'm going to show you at the end the example of my annual plan regarding to my training as an athlete, and that actually I use that to know, okay, at those moments I'm going to do that in my business and so on. But you, since maybe you just need to work on your business, you can actually build your annual plan just fit that so it fit exactly you. So the idea is simple. You are going to establish cycles, and we are going to talk a little bit in detail of what those cycles are, how long those cycles should be, because there is a very clear answer to that. But just hear me out for now. The idea is simple. You want to have so a cycle that is either, for instance, let's take a month cycle, which is 4 weeks. So weeks one, let's take weeks one is pretty much when you're getting started after what's after drop down, because see that thing, then you go again, and then that was like this. This is cycles. So pretty much you're full of energy, you're rest, and so you're ready to go. So this is, but here, that's why it's important. You should not go as hard as you possibly can. You should keep a little bit of energy in reserve. Go, but moderately. See, the idea is if the way you work at the moment is pretty much something that you can sustain. Probably if you feel overwhelmed, that's probably because you cannot sustain it. But let's say something that you can sustain here throughout the whole year is going to be a level of energy that is somewhere around there. So the idea is similar. Okay, on the first week, just want to take a little easy work, but okay, don't over push it. Second week, you want to go to this and even pass it a little bit, put a lot more energy. That's something that could be sustainable. And what you do on the third week, this is the week where you push work beyond what is humanly acceptable. You push yourself above and beyond you work from the moment you're awake to the moment you go to sleep. You just work your ass off as like your your life depend on it. And then what's this? The last week is called a deload. This is okay. You bring everything down to a level that is extremely easy. You don't even have to try. You just recover from that high level of intensity. So what that allows you to do is, instead of having a moderate intensity throughout the year, because honestly, I'm putting that here, but the truth is, the first week is actually more or less close to the moderate intensity, and this is just the deload, the deload phase that is extremely low, way below the moderate intensity that you can sustain over the long run. So the first week is kind of a moderate intensity. The second week could be called, it should be more like this, sorry. This is something that it's high level of intensity week. You're not retaining yourself in any way, shape, or form. But on the third week, you go above and beyond. You don't hold anything back. And so what happened is, because you allow yourself every 4 weeks to have a very, very, very chill week, but on 2 out of those 4 weeks, you are crushing it like anything no one has ever seen. And you have 1 week that is kind of just a moderate week, that is just actually how people are working on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. 2 weeks out of 4, you are crushing everyone. 1 week out of 4, you're working like everyone. And 1 week out of 4, you're actually chilling where everyone is working. So that's kind of the idea on a 4-week basis. So, and this repeat on an annual plan, which means by quarter by quarter, so by period of 3 to 4 months, where you do the same thing, but instead of weeks, this is months. So you have a first month that is moderate intensity. Let's take January moderate intensity. You start your year chill, okay. Then you have February. You start ramping up the intensity, but inside those, this is what you need to also think about. Inside that month, you also have this cycle. So this cycle within cycles, and then arrive March, you go above and beyond. So you still do the deload week, which is important, but you really not retain yourself. And at the end of this month, you know that the month that come after April is going to be a kind of a deload month, where you are going to pretty much during the whole month just work at moderate intensity or slightly lower intensity, depending on how you feel. Honestly, that's just going to depend on how you feel. But during the fourth month, you really need to force yourself to go easy. This is because when you feel overwhelmed, it's just because you're pushing yourself too much for too long. So by understanding that, okay, sometimes you need to chill back a little bit, doesn't mean you don't work. It does that you work at a level of intensity that is highly sustainable and that allow you to actually recover. And this is very important, because then you can plan ahead. Okay, I know those moments in my year are going to be extremely intense, so I put everything in the right condition in my environment, at home, and everything. So I can focus 100% on that and put all the things that are overwhelming me, I'll put them aside for later. And then on those moments where you're doing your deload, where you are very low where you are planned to have very low intensity at work, you can spend that time to actually get all the things done on your personal side that are piling up and that you need to get done. This is how you manage everything. Because the thing is, if you try to maintain a high level of performance in your work and high level of performance all the time at home and so on, you will feel overwhelmed at some point. So where if you have cycles that actually are moving across, so this is your professional cycle, you have your personal cycle that is moving on the opposite direction of the professional cycle. That way, you have always a time and place to get everything done. And when you are focused on work, you are focused on work, because this is one of the biggest things that I've learned from being an athlete is when you focus on something, make sure you just focus on it and that nothing else is going in your way. That's the most important thing. So yeah, I think that's pretty much that. So just I just want to finish with the different type of cycles that you want to grow. You can, so first of all, you are your week, just 1 week. That might seem stupid, but inside your own week, you should start the week a little slower, then ramp up the intensity until the end of the week, and then go down, do your weekend, and chill. This is your deload. I mean, that's kind of obvious. That's something that almost everybody is doing, but that's still important to remind yourself that you need at least 1 day or 2 sometimes of complete rest. That's important to say. Then you have the months. So here cycle are more, as I said, there is a very different, that's more 4 to 5 weeks cycle, where the last week is actually the deload week. And then you have the quarters, yes, which are yes, sorry, this is not quarter, this is because you can either do it quarterly basis, so this is 3 months by 3 months by 3 months, I believe, or just by a chunk of 4 months. I don't know. So this is I don't know how to call it, but yearly, which is 3 to 4 months. Depending on you and how you feel. So that's kind of it. But I believe you need kind of an example. So I'm going to put up my annual plan that I've built for this year. But this is my annual plan in terms of training. So, but that's something that you can apply for yourself as for your business, I believe. I don't see why you cannot. So let's put that and let's go. So here is the annual plan. See, first of all, I put here, and for you that's going to be, for me that's a competition, but for you that's going to be the main event that you have for the year. Let's try to actually put a little bigger. So the main event for the year, that's kind of the first column here. And then you have what we call the micro cycle. So this is kind of the big cycle for the year. As you see, as an athlete, you have the pre-season, the competitive season, and the rest and recovery. But I believe that most companies are working based on quarters, so you can really just use that Q1, Q2, Q3, however you want to do it. And pretty much this is how it works. Then you can deconstruct that into smaller chunk of block. So once you have your macro cycle, which are mainly the ones that are monthly and the months, just how your overall year is going to look like, then this is about doing what is called the mesocycle, which is the cycles which are going to last for about 4 to 5 weeks or less. Sometimes that's only 3 weeks, but that's because you need to make everything fit in the right order so you can plan in advance in the right way. And so once you have that, honestly, pretty much you have it, because then you know that this is, you have your 4 weeks, and then this is just about you planning those 4 weeks out. Okay, this first week I'm going to chill a little bit, and then I'm doing to do a little more, and so on. So yes, this is I just want to show you just right there. So this is pretty much how it is done. Week 1 on the mesocycle is going to be moderate intensity. Week 2 high intensity. Week 3 you push your limit, your limit. You don't hesitate, you don't hold back, because that's something also I found is when you work for too long at too high intensity, then you tend to hold back because you know you can sustain it for a long time. Where here, the advantage that you have with having cycled is actually to be able to push your limit and be comfortable with the idea that you can allow yourself to not hold back anything. And then you have your week 4, which is kind of the deload week, as I told you. Anyway, yeah, I hope that that makes sense and you got some value out of it. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.